And now, the WWE Network proudly brings to you moderately extreme yet pointlessly and confusing rules. And we start off with one of the guiltiest parties of the night, and that's The Miz versus Dean Ambrose. If Dean gets disqualified, he loses his title. It's just an absolute mess if you ask me. The one saving grace in the whole match was, for the first time in God knows how long, the referee actually mattered. When he told Dean to stop, Dean had to listen. You don't get that nowadays. Now that they're just quietly calling spots from time to time, acting as a prop, and looking like crying little midget babies. I don't even know this guy's name, he's just little crying midget baby to us. Considering what they were given to play with, The Miz and Dean Ambrose did put on a pretty good match, and in the end the potential disqualification was just a distraction for The Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale. And another point for this referee, what an iron skull he's got on him. He got run into by Ambrose and knocked to the outside, and he immediately got back up. By the usual laws of referee-ativity, that guy should have spilled piss and shit everywhere and been dead for about 3.5 weeks. There's no way they'll miss an opportunity to plug their next pay-per-view, even if we're only one match into this pay-per-view. Typical form from the WWE. We go to Charles the Dwarf backstage with Bayley, and sadly they cover the This Is Your Life segment from Monday Night Raw. Where's a dad with a medication? That's what I want to know. I think that's where they should go with this. If they're going to make a point of saying that a dad followed her everywhere when she was a child, and potentially now, just we've never seen him on camera, they could use that horrible bit from Monday and have the reason why Bayley's so nice is because she's on medication, and if she isn't on medication, she goes batshit crazy, and that's why her dad follows her everywhere, and why she's so painfully pissing nice to everyone and everything. The next stupid set of rules comes in form of, well, it's not exclusively stupid because it's on Extreme Rules, it's just mixed tag team matches. What's the point? They're not actually tag team matches at all. It's two singles matches coexisting and taking turns to be the focus with rest periods. One person competes, they build momentum, they beat the other person down, they tag their partner in, and oh, they've both got to reset. What's the fucking point? Phoenix Splash won it. Well done, Sasha. I don't know who you've pissed off, but yeah, at least you weren't on the pre-show, which is what I was expecting. Elias Sampson did a great job pissing off the crowd. Cool, calm, collected, and smug as piss. He didn't have a match, just getting himself and his solos over. Now we go on to hashtag Kendo Stick, Joy, with Alexa Bliss and Bayley, which, again, pointless. Regardless of who grabs the stick, the other person's legally allowed to use it, which is what happened. Bayley had a perfect opportunity to beat Bliss down, she hesitated, Bliss took the kendo stick off her, and just battered the hell out of her for the next few minutes. Yep, Money in the Bank again, just in case you forgot. Now it's time to make a cage match confusing, with the Hardy Boys and Cesaro. At the beginning of the match we're told that it's no pinfall, no submission, the only way to win is to escape, but all 4 feet of both teammates must land at the same time. During the match, the commentary team retracted on that statement slightly, by saying both guys had to be outside, but then we had a door in there which is just silly because anybody could run out the door while people are climbing up the cage. If you can look past the silly steel cage logic, there were some nice high spots in the match, but there was plenty of times where I was just screaming at the screen in utter frustration because why would you go back in? Why would you let people climb up a cage and then you chase up the cage as well when there's a door right next to you? If there's one of your team already outside and both of your opponents are still in the ring, it's perfectly acceptable for one of your opponents to fall out of the ring and then you fall behind them because it's still 2 of your team outside, 1 of theirs inside. Just horrible. Cesaro actually won, took the belts off the Hardys. I think this is the right thing to do. I'm liking Sheamus and Cesaro as heels. They both slipped back into it very nicely. And I think it'll be more exciting with the Hardy Boys chasing. Or even if they just break them straight away now. Either way, it's win-win. Just a shame about how we got there. Continuing my dazed and confused state, I contemplate if I'm trapped in a dream within a dream, as I'm now witness to a WWE Network advert on the WWE Network. Thanks Vince, because of this I get to question reality every 2 to 3 weeks. And now it's the Cruiserweights' turn to aggravate me with their little touches on stipulation matches, and we have a submission match between Austin Aries and Neville. And for the majority of the contest, to be fair, it is a good match. Neville worked on Aries' pre-damaged leg, and then absolutely wrecks Aries' left shoulder during the match, and then he works that too. I'm not sure if Aries landed on his head, but he looked a bit wobbly and a bit glassy-eyed at one point. Aries did get Neville to tap on the outside, but this is where random adjustments to match stipulations comes in, and the referee just told him to take it inside and wasn't going to accept the tap. Neville then dropped out of the way of a suicide dive, chucked Aries back in the ring, hit him with a red arrow to the back, which looked and sounded nasty as hell, and that just flowed seamlessly into the rings of Saturn, so yeah, there you go. Sorry Aries, 3 tries and you're out. Massive fan of your work, but I think this feud's done. You need to go on to do something different now. Possibly even drop the 205 factor and just go into the main roster. I've said this about a lot of the cruiserweights, but I think they could mingle with the main roster and still be fine. They don't always have to be competing for the cruiserweight belt. They can work programs with other people. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but Great Balls of Fire is the next promo for the WWE. Great Balls of fucking Fire. Well done, Vince. Yet more evidence to showing how with the times you are. Christ, I'm a dinosaur and I've got my finger on the pulse more than you do. The whole show's going to have a drive-through theatre theme by the look of it, and I'm pretty sure the guy singing married his young cousin. Am I right about that? Yeah, it's a bit dodgy. I don't really want to type that into the internet, so if anybody else wants to check that, That's at your history's discretion, not mine, but I'm pretty sure it was his cousin and she was 14. And here's a nice little tidbit. Soon as you like to put all these adverts and trailers on, do you know why trailers are named as such? Yeah, it's because they come after the pay-per-view. They come after the actual thing that you're showing. They trail the main event. So you shouldn't be teasing me with the next part of this story before this story's finished. Wait till it's finished and then tease me. Then it trails on from the end. I like to prepare myself before Bray Wyatt's entrance nowadays, and this involves getting his theme song ready on my phone, turning the lights off, putting wrestling on mute, and playing his theme song through my phone while he comes down. This is because Michael Cole and the rest of the commentary team are just insufferable when it comes to absorbing the atmosphere of Bray Wyatt's entrance. My eyes and ears are already engaged, leave me to it. Before we all go home with our faces in our hands, we've got a fatal five-way between Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. First thing I noticed that amused me during this match is the second that Roman Reigns takes any form of damage, Michael Cole's already there, jumping at us with excuses on why he might be weak, blaming Braun Strowman, in order to maintain the strong aura that Roman Reigns has. Once the match gets going, Bray and Joe team up for a while, and they just stay on top of the other three, until Finn manages to make a comeback. This forces Bray to go outside, get a chair, obviously it's still legal, and then he starts laying waste to people with said chair. Every time that Roman Reigns comes in and gets involved and cleans house, the crowd are just all over him, as expected. But they get behind him by the end of it, just like always. We all saw it coming, but Bray and Joe's alliance falls to pieces, they start scrapping, and then Finn comes in with a chair and just ruins both of them, and goes on a one-man destruction crew for a few minutes. At the pinnacle of the match we saw Roman spear both Joe and Finn through the barricade outside, and where Finn had failed to put Bray through the announce table, Seth Rollins saw his opportunity and soared through the sky like a big shiny black bird of prey. This left it with just Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns one-on-one. Just fuck off, Reigns. You're as bad as Rey Mysterio was back in the day. 73 counterattacks and 56 finishing moves starred. It is genuinely irritating to watch how you're booked, which obviously isn't your fault, but hey-ho. Nice one. Called it a few weeks ago. Samoa Joe runs in and turns Finn blue with a coquina clutch. Love it. So there you go. Not a bad pay-per-view action-wise, just a storytelling/narration, and all the stipulations. It's meant to be Extreme Rules, but it was just extremely complicated, and everybody was just extremely confused, and I just thought it was extremely pointless. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to comment on the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania, obviously, the entire backlog of my Raw rant, going all the way back to my written work /walls of text, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff on the site to keep you busy. And last but not least, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com, and their digital store links can be found in my description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.